It's been said many times before that V8 supercar drivers aren't athletes. All they do is sit around, steer, brake, accelerate. It's a pretty simple job. It's not just a mental job, but the real key to V8 supercar racing is that it's physical as well. Now this is really the office, and the best way to probably describe it is a gym that travels at 50 metres per second. Now think of it this way. Braking in a V8 supercar, we're inside the Stone Brothers Falcon of Jonathan Webb, basically is the equivalent of a 90-kilogram leg press. Here at Winton, 7 of those per lap. And you or I could probably do that. Over the course of 3 races, that's a little bit tougher. But then there's a whole pile of other things going on at the same time. You're changing gears, the H pattern in the Fujitsu series, that's 30 kilograms of force. There's 15 gear changes per lap. Add up 3 14-lap races, and that really means that the left arm's working as well. And all of this other stuff's going on. You're trying to pass the guy in front. You're trying to hold out the guy behind. You're making anti-roll bar adjustments on the run to make sure that the car is trimmed absolutely perfect to the tyre condition and the track condition at the time. Don't forget, you've got someone talking in your ear too, a race engineer reminding you of what to do. Even though the ambient temperature is some perhaps 15 degrees outside at Winton, in car it's still warm, it's still 40 degrees. So these guys are really, really working hard. Neck muscles are working hard, G-forces under braking and acceleration, cornering, bumping over curbs, landing off curbs. The body's wedged in here into the race seat, but it's really being pulled and twisted in ways that it's probably not meant to be. Great news for chiropractors though. Everything in here is about violent activity. There's no careful, easy gear change. The gear changes are crisp and rip through the gears. There's hard application on the pedals for braking and accelerating. Steering input's hard. This is a violent office, and that's all before you start touching wing mirrors.
Geez, Aaron, you make it look like it's an easy thing, mate. Look like you know what you're doing.
Oh, I've only won 2 less rounds at Winton than you have, though.
Yeah, good on you. It certainly is a physical environment, but Steve-O and Dean Canto on the front row of the grid, that's where the battle's going to be for this 3rd race.
Jeff Emery, great job on home test track soil. He'll start from 8th. Brett Holdsworth, a best run for him for the year. Let's see if he can finish it off. He's back on row 6. Michael Trimble, shocker of a weekend for the Global Jet Commodore. It's repaired. James Bergmuller running midfield, and his teammate Dale Wood, because this grid's on aggregate from races 1 and 2, he has to work his way from 19th again.
He has, and we've also got Grant Daniel down the back again. Marcus Zukanovic not having a good weekend, so here we go.
Now, this is the decider. It's the last race in the Fujitsu series before we go to the mountain. Steve Owen and Dean Canto, the class of 08, and it's Canto with a jump to turn 1.
Steve certainly got a good jump off the line there, but he probably got too much wheel spin, which Dean just hooked the car up and managed to get onto the racing line quicker, and we've got more first corner action.
It's usually the obligatory couple of cars out through the grass.
4 into 1 just does not go around Winton, does it?
No, it never does. But it's Canto leading from Steve Owen. Perkins is 3rd, Reynolds is next. And the mid-pack in a Fujitsu Series race is the last place I'd want to be.
It's certainly a panel beater's dream come true, isn't it, really, when you see some of the action that goes on. But Dean Canto certainly got a good jump there. He's got the drive off the corner. Taz Douglas out in the mud as well. That problem with that fills up the full radiator area and can actually overheat the car. You can see the mud just coming out of the front of it. Have to be very careful now, keeping an eye on the temperature of that car.
One thing he has done, though, he's rejoined here in the back straight. That's one way to take the lead.
It probably is, and he's certainly the lead of the race now. And look in the mirrors, he'll have the whole field coming down on top of him.
Boy, now, Tim Slade, turn 10. There's all sorts of stuff going on down there. Oh, that's Jeff Emery. Started from position 8. Jay Vernick's involved.
I think some of the boys might have had that helmet on a little bit tight for this race.
Shannon O'Brien around in the background. But it's Dean Canto leading the way. The car's just up onto the rev limiter before turn 1.
In 5th gear, you don't actually use 6th gear here at Winton. You come down that front straight. Here we've got some of this first corner action. Bang, crash, touch.
Oh.
I tell you, it doesn't take a lot to turn a V8 supercar around. It's just that slightest kiss in the wrong corner, the slightest push. You know, 2 guys trying to fight for the 1 bit of road, and it affects so many cars. 5 cars off in one go. Problem is, when you go through that section, and here we see Taz, there's dips and ruts and things that are full of water, and once on those slicks, you hit that greasy, slimy, wet grass, you've just not a lot of control. the splash through there. So you really just have to try and aim the car at something, and hopefully it's not going to hit anything, and hang on.
Now, Dale Woods aimed it up the inside of Drew Russell and gone on through. Russell's car looked pretty evil on the run through the switchback on the exit of the sweeper. Now he's got a Assailant in behind. Michael Trimble is on the scene as well in the Global Jet Commodore. And just behind him, there he is, Grant Denyer with Dave Cedars in the Gulf Western Falcon. He had a diff failure in race 2, Cedars, so he's trying to fight his way through. But in this race, it looks like Jack Perkins has got a bit more pace and is running with Steve Owen in the early stages.
Yeah, certainly. We saw Steve Owen in that first race make that rear geometry change and struggled a little bit with the car speed. They've got it right for race 2. They've obviously made a change for race 3, and he's now struggling again with that little bit of car speed. Jack Perkins and Dean Canto, certainly the 2 fastest cars out there at the moment.
Canto, 2-time series champ, has won the most races in the history of the Fujitsu series, which started back in season 2000.
These guys spreading out a little bit now. Tyre management certainly comes into play here at Winton over the course of the weekend. They get 8 tyres to start the qualifying battle with. They use those 8 tyres throughout the next 3 races. So managing those tyres, particularly in that reverse grid race, do you put your best ones on? Do you save them for the last race? That's where we tend to see little different strategies. And Steve Owen's car's actually got 2 white wheels on one side and 2 black ones on the other.
This is Drew Russell. Grant Denyer locked in behind. And this run through the sweeper, now you've got to get the car to switch back across the curb and then brake well. There's so much going on here.
It's a good circuit, really, this Winton Raceway. You've got those second gear corners, you've got the third gear corners, then you approach the sweeper, which is 4th gear, and a lot of commitment required. You've really got to make that commitment as you go into the sweeper, because you start to run out of road very quickly. You then load the front of the car, turn it through the 2 chicane type curbs as you then hard on the brakes back to second gear for the tight twisty stuff at the top of the circuit. It certainly is an exciting little racetrack.
Replay at turn 10, that's Damien Assailant and Drew Russell with just a little bit of overlap. And this is a replay over at turn 3. Tony Bates off the road again.
Not having a very good weekend, is he? We've had a couple of guys that aren't having good weekends at all, unfortunately. Oh, light the tyres up.
It's a good way to use up the tyres. Now, this is our leader. Well, hang on a sec.
What's the mud all over the
There's
front?
mud everywhere. Canto's got Perkins behind, and that's Steve Owen up the road. So Canto's been off the circuit. This is a replay of another drama. Aaron McGill up on the curb, getting into the side of Jeff Emery, who goes the other way and takes Joel Spicella with him. That was madness there.
What's this, the WRC guys? There's mud and look at the, unbelievable. Oh, there we go.
Now.
And Jack as well.
Oh.
So both those, and
Everyone. There must be something on the road here. Owen's the only guy. Tim Slade makes it through.
Reindler off as well. So there must be oil or something on the circuit, because to have that many cars go off, and we've got one in the fence.
The L&H speed shot captures Michael Trimble.
Yeah, obviously there's something on the circuit there, because to have that many cars go off in one incident, not good.
Shannon O'Brien in drama as well. Oh. It's gone crazy in race 3 at Winton. We'll get it cleaned up and come back after the break. Back at Winton, restart in race 3, round 5 of the Fujitsu V8 Supercar Series. Steve Owen leading the way down at turn 1, which is where all the drama happened. Now, there was some oil drop from Terry Wyhoon's Falcon. That was the cause.
Yeah.
And everyone went firing off the road.
The hard thing for Dean, obviously, he was the first car to arrive, and he's the pioneer out there. He's what a great shot coming out of the drain there. He's the first car to arrive with that oil. Obviously, Steve may have seen him slide a little bit, but Jack Perkins behind couldn't see anything. So, and they've just continued to follow each other off. I mean, it's a frustrating situation, particularly when you're in the lead of a race. And
that Canto car looks pretty evil. Perkins now will get him up the inside. Reynolds is in the mix too. Steve Owen's driving away here, but Canto's car just doesn't look happy. So whether it's damaged something from bouncing off the road, because it was a pretty high speed off.
Webb pushing hard on the back of Reynolds. Now with Dean's car possibly in a bit of trouble. He's going to come under a lot of pressure from these guys behind. David, Webb, Slade, Reindler, Wood, and actually Wood's done a great job there. He's come from 19th on the grid.
And he's up to position 8 with Brett Holdsworth just in behind him. So he's got the pace. He just needs to start at the front. He gets another one now at turn 11. Goes on by Carl Reindler.
Good passing opportunity there. He's pushed Reindler a little bit wide. He's made the hole and pulled the pass manoeuvre off. There's the PlayStation 3 car. My kids love that car.
I wonder why.
Go Grant Denyer.
Jack Perkins, position 2. This is a really nice way to bounce back for him. He's had engine problems in the last couple of rounds at Queensland Raceway and also at Sandown.
You can see Jack pushing quite hard. He just missed the apex, like he's really having a go, working the front of that car hard and opening that gap up to Canto, who's struggling a little bit now.
Reynolds, Webb, right in the mix. And Canto clearly struggling. Look at them all. Firing up the inside. Reynolds gets him. Webb's in the mix. Slade's just waiting to see what happens.
Left or right? Left or right? Which one do I go? That's the hard question when you're following a battle like this. You've got to try and pick the right spot.
Now, if you're Tim Slade, you're in this gap, aren't you?
You take that, you try and squeeze the car in, and hopefully it'll pay off by the time you get to the next braking area.
Problem is, though, he's on the wrong side for turn 10, and Canto covers.
Now Dale Wood's buying into the action as well, so we've got a bit another bent bonnet on the Wood car, unfortunately, but we've got a good battle going on here as Paul Canto slips back through the field.
Now Dale Wood pounces on Slade. Nice move.
Certainly a fast car under Dale Wood there. He's they test here quite regularly, quite often. He had that unfortunate incident in race 1, but he's fought back quite well throughout the 2 races and clearly has a fast and competitive race car.
And he's going to make his main game debut in the L&H 500 at Phillip Island with Mark Noske in one of the Sprint Gas Racing Commodores. Great to see so many drivers from the Fujitsu series getting their run in the main game for Phillip Island and Bathurst. Yeah,
we've certainly seen, and Grant Denyer trying to make a manoeuvre there on Holsworth. We've seen some of the real standout performers in Fujitsu over the years end up in quite competitive opportunities in the endurance races, and there's no doubt that some of these guys really deserve that opportunity. That's one of the reasons why we have the Fujitsu series, is to blood some of the young guys, and when it comes time to
Canto wanted to cover. Wood was going for it no matter what. Slade gives him one as well. He's a wounded car at the moment, but Canto is getting it from everywhere.
He's definitely in trouble, isn't he? He's doing everything he can to hang on to it, but car after car after car just files straight past him.
And now his own teammate, Carl Reindler, in the Novus Falcon trying to get through, but Mark McNally will pounce on him, so the 2 West Aussies having a great run. A Sailor in the mix too, so the young guys not afraid to use the elbows.
No, that's right, and this gives them experience when they get to that main game races, those at that L&H 500 and of course at Bathurst as well. So this sort of action in there, we got there's cars going everywhere, isn't there?
Hard to keep up with all this. Denyer makes a move on a Sailor. It's a freight train on the run down the main straight with only a couple of laps to go.
You can certainly see how the level of commitment, though. One little mistake, one run wide, and it can cost you up to 4 and 5 positions, and that's what makes this racing so exciting.
Here's the replay. Canto tried to cover. There was a couple of taps out of the way.
A little rude, but obviously Dean's in a bit of trouble, so the car clearly isn't either turning to the left or the right quite well. He hasn't got the grip that he had before, so Wood's just stuffed her up the inside, as you'd like to say.
Technical description, that one?
Very technical.
Damien Sailor, Drew Russell, some young guys doing great things in older cars. Gene Rollinson, the young Kiwi, in the second of the Race Image Falcons there with Jay Vernick. Haven't seen much of Marcus Zukanovic. He's back in behind those guys. He's had a really, really tough weekend. Nothing has really gone right. A retirement in race 2, 19th in race 1. That really hurts on the championship point score.
Oh, it does, and it's one of those weekends here at Winton. If you have one little problem, it's so hard to recover from. Not one car out there, I don't think, has got a straight paddle on it. There's plenty of rubbing and pushing and shoving and going on. But it's certainly all playing into the hands of the top 3 guys. Steve Owen well and truly out in front. Dave Reynolds and Webb battling it out for that second spot on the podium. You
can see there in the front spoiler, the blocker that runs there over the radiator. It's going to be pretty caked by the end of one of these races.
It is, and they use that divider in the radiator area to help with the downforce in the car. It limits the airflow through the engine compartment and the radiator. It forces more air under the car, which then helps with the downforce. So you quite often see that as a tuning aid rather than a cooling aid as well.
that in these short Fujitsu series races, it's not an endurance race, so having slightly higher temperatures for the engine isn't too much of a concern.
No, not at all, and they probably cope with it a little bit more, so therefore they aim for more downforce, a bit faster. They don't work the tyres as hard, obviously only a 14-lap race, but you can see here Webb's really trying to push Reynolds hard for to try and take that next step on the podium.
And these are two more drivers who'll have starts in the LH 500 at Phillip Island. Reynolds with Paul Dumbrell in the Autobahn Commodore, Webb with Shane Van Gisbergen in the SP Tools Falcon for Stone Brothers.
That's Dale Wood up into 4th place too, so there's the top 4 guys here all going through to the main game races of the next 2 events.
The run home though, this man, Steve Owen, championship leader, is on his way to another win. It's become situation normal in 2008. The Tittercar team win round 5 at Winton. Jack Perkins 2nd, and David Reynolds will hang on for 3rd from Jonathan Webb. Let's take a look at the results. Dale Wood, another great recovery for 5th from Tim Slade. Canto hung on for 7th, and Brett Holdsworth, a great run, his first top 10.
Yeah, great result from Grant Denyer to come back into 11th place there. Sillett, Verdnick, Russell and Zakanovic recovering well after a bad starting position.
Today I was driving 100% every lap, and if there's a championship on the line, I probably would have backed it off a bit, but no, I'm going to go flat out now. I'm going to try and win every race from here on in and prove a point that I can beat a couple of these more experienced guys, and no, I'm looking forward to it.
Nice way for Jack to bounce back. First podium result for him since the first round in Adelaide. Steve Owen, the winner for the round. David Reynolds in 3rd. Great run from Brett Holdsworth too, but Owen is the man of the day.
It was a pretty tricky weekend, dry conditions, but we really regrouped after losing a motor at Queensland, and I'm proud of the whole team because, you know, they really deserve this.
Steve Owen now leads 268 points is the margin back to David Reynolds. Dean Canto in 3rd from Jonathan Webb, and Jack Perkins moves from 10th to 6th. Now the Fujitsu V8 Supercar Series has a short break before the penultimate round, round 6 of 2008. It's at Mount Panorama Bathurst. 2 races and 300 points up for grabs. So the championship is not completely locked up by Steve Owen. Of course, he'll be on double duty with Jim Beam Racing. It's been a great round at Winton Motor Raceway. On behalf of Jason Bargwana, I'm Aaron Noonan. We'll see you next time.